Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word, and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast, which is part of the Hiking Radio Network. And I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. This week, I am back with a former guest of the show, Kate Dixon, who is the current executive director for the Friends of the Mountains to Sea Trail organization. It was great to be able to chat with Kate once again and hear what's going on with the Mountains to Sea Trail, some exciting opportunities for the trail community in North Carolina, and what's happening next for Kate herself. Before we get to Kate, I hope you all enjoyed last week's interview with Jeff Brewer. If you haven't had a chance to listen to that episode, I highly recommend going back and giving it a listen. Jeff shared with us some valuable insight on giving back to the trails we love. Thanks for joining me for this week's episode, and now on to Kate Dixon. All right, Kate, welcome back to the podcast. I really appreciate you joining me again.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you very much.
So listen, I just looked, and I'm looking again, even though I just looked at it. So your original episode was episode number 37, and I actually titled it A Director's Perspective. And I wanted to let you know we are recording this, but by the time this comes out and you hear this, I've titled this episode, let me get back to it, Leadership and Legacy. Thought that was pretty cool. So let's make sure we talk about leadership and legacy, okay?
Sounds good.
So listen, thank you for coming on the first time. Thank you for joining me today. And I can think of no better way to kind of kick this off than talk about, of course, the Mountains to Sea Trail. And this is the 44th year of the Mountains to Sea Trail, and September is the birthday month. So Kate, kind of kick us off, talk about, what's going on and what's happening for the month of September.
Thanks. We're so excited about this. A number of years ago, we started trying to celebrate the what we call the birthday of the Mountains to Sea Trail. It's on September 9th, 1977, Howard Lee gave a speech at Lake Junaluska that recommended creating a trail across North Carolina. And so actually, I think it was back in 2017 is when we really started using it and having fun with it. That was the 40th anniversary of the trail. And this year we are doing the 44th birthday hike, which is actually a month-long September celebration. And we're encouraging people to celebrate by, one thing is to hike at least 44 miles. You could do it all at one time, or you could do it a little bit every day, just and on the MST. So it's a great way to get out there and experience new parts of it, or parts that you're just have fallen in love with and you want to be on all the time. So that's one of the things. We're also doing a special, we've done a special patch and for folks who give $44, and also a really wonderful for anybody who wants to give $440.
Yes, that's what we want them to do. 440. Exactly. I'm going for the 440.
Excellent. So we have a potter named Courtney Pornell. She makes these just beautiful mugs that are MST mugs. It has the white blaze on it, really, really beautiful handmade mugs. And so if any of your listeners raise $440 or more dollars, they'll get one of those too. And one of the things that's really special about what's happening this time is we are partnering with the app that was developed special for the MST. It's called the MST Guide by Pocket Trails. And Jester, of course, you know all about this because you have gotten super involved with it.
And the listeners kind of know, I'm involved with this app. I don't know how to develop an app, but I know how to promote an app. So there, I'll say that. And I know how to use an app.
And the web developer is a guy named Josh Smith. And a number of years ago, he came to us and said this was just his passion to do this. I love the interview that you did with him a while ago, Jester. He's just so special. And so anyway, it's a really great app for hiking the trail. But it's also we've been partnering with you all to turn it also into a platform for recording miles or making your donation to Friends of MST for the birthday month. So I really encourage all of your listeners to not only get out there, but also get that app and use it for lots of things, but also as a great way to take part in the birthday hike. It's been really fun to work with you all on that.
Well, we appreciate that. And there's also going to be, and there's already talk about it, the leaderboard. So within the app, there will be a leaderboard, almost like a race. I don't know if you want to call it a race, but I guess it is. Whoever is the first one to, make it to the 44 miles. And it's going to be good little fun competition within the apps. So you'll be able to see who's on the leaderboard. And I think that you guys are doing prizes for that as well, right?
So as I'm remembering, I think it is that it's not necessarily who's first on the leaderboard, but anybody who does complete the 44 miles will be entered into a drawing. And REI, 6 of the stores of the REI stores in North Carolina each of them have donated a prize pack. So there's really fun stuff in those. And so as long as you complete your 44 miles, you're entered into this drawing.
Yes, and I should know that. It's not a race to the top of the leaderboard. It's just a race to the not a race, but it's completing the 44 miles. And within the leaderboard, you'll be able to see, other people that are out there doing that as well, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really, really fun.
So that'll be fun. And I can already, some of you wild MST hikers out there, I can already tell what's happening. You're going to try to get those 44 miles done in one day, but that's okay because then you can fundraise the rest of the month, right?
Exactly. Esther, you're on it.
I'm on it. So that is a really cool thing that's going on this month, the month of September. And I also wanted to ask you about your recent announcement for, I guess, your retirement. So talk to us about that a little bit.
Well, I am going to retire. The date that we talk about is April 11th, which is the day after the Gathering of Friends, which will be next year at Lake Junaluska, which is where Howard Lee initially gave the speech 44 years ago. And so it'll be really fun to be there for our big Gathering of Friends in 2022, because that'll be the 45th anniversary of the speech. But yeah, I've announced my retirement for that. And we've just started advertising for the position. So if any of your listeners are interested in being the executive director of Friends of the MST, they can go on the website and find information about the job opening. And I think that it closes in September. The applications close in September. So I think September 30th. I should know that off the top of my head.
Well, you should know that like I should know about the app, right?
Exactly.
About the leaderboard.
So it's in September. So anyway.
It's on the website. Yeah. So take a look at that. But I don't know if you remember in Betsy's episode, if you listen to Betsy's episode, she says how they're going to send you off into the sunset.
That's right.
On a pontoon boat. So get ready.
So anyway, so it's like 6 months away or so. And there are just so many fun things. So I'm totally immersed in the job right now.
So you don't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You got 2 feet in the job. And then on April 11th on that pontoon boat, that's when you're going to get into the future adventures of Kate Dixon.
Exactly. Oh, actually, so one other thing for your listeners there may be people listening, I hope, who are interested in the job. In a perfect world, what will happen is that the new person will actually start in February, and so there will be some overlap. That's what we're sort of aiming for. So it's not quite so far away before anybody could get the job. So,
but hey, it'll be February before we know it.
Yes, exactly.
So listen, along those lines, I am always curious, what is it like, or what has it been like? I guess that's two different questions, and you could probably answer both. What is it like to be an executive director in and of itself, but then maybe what's it been like to be the executive director for the Friends of the Mountains of Sea Trail?
So this has really been a wonderful job, and it's changed a lot in the time that I've been here. One thing to know is that when I started, I have been executive director of nonprofits for most of my career, or I've worked in nonprofits for most of my career and been executive directors of a number. But when I started, the organization was tiny, and it had started about 10 years before. And at the time that I started, it was really led by trail workers, people who were building trail, maintaining trail. And I had met them, the leadership, and just was really inspired by them and inspired by their vision, and really impressed by what they had pulled together for that particular purpose, where they already had these really strong trail crews who, to this day, it's amazing. A storm comes through, and right afterwards, the volunteers are out handling whatever has happened. That function of what we do was just really working well, and I had so much admiration for the people who were leading. Probably the person who most inspired me to be involved is a guy named Jeff Brewer, who I think you're also going to interview. Jeff became the board president. He was a student at Lewisburg College, and our founder, Alan DeHart, asked him if he would be president, and he led the organization as president for about 12 years. He's a really, really amazing leader. And I was so honored when he and the rest of the board agreed to hire me. But at that time, we were tiny. They had never had staff before. That's always a bit of a transition. I knew that it would be. One of the things that's actually good in a situation like that is that I didn't know very much about trail building at all. So it wasn't like I could come in and say, oh, I think you should be doing whatever, because that wasn't what I was bringing to the organization. And so let me focus on things that they really hadn't focused on, like building our membership and awareness of the trail. Also, it took several years before we really took it on, but really trying to improve the information about how to hike the trail. At that point, all there really was Alan DeHart's book, and the trail was changing all the time, and therefore it was out of date. And so to try and set up a really accurate trail guide and also the ability to quickly update it when the trail changed. One of the things that I worked on that was most fun was working on the route in the coastal plain. That part of the trail, when I started, there wasn't any trail between the Falls Lake Dam, north of Raleigh, all the way to New Bern.
Wow.
And at that point, the vision was only that the trail would follow the Neuse River. And so we developed a whole new route. So the paddling is an option on the Neuse, but a whole new route. And that was really, really fun. And now, as you know, we have 4 other staff people, and they're amazing, really wonderful to work with. And so, hundreds of volunteers and this great staff, and it's really fun.
Just an amazing community of people, from the staff to people that, give of their time to build more trail, maintain trail, clean trail. The trail angels. I mean, some of the trail angels that I've met out there, phenomenal. I mean, just open their homes. And now, I think with COVID, you guys have lifted some of that, where trail angels, I guess at their own discretion, can start, welcoming people back in their homes and things like that. And just the towns, and there's just it's just unbelievable. The town of Roseboro, getting to interview, Mayor Alice, that was phenomenal. And I go back to that newsletter that I've told everybody about that came out a year ago, where you stated that the Mountains to Sea Trail was a trail for times like these. And I will never I've told everybody that, Kate. So I will never forget that. It just, you guys are very welcoming. If people are willing to hike and, be a volunteer, you're very welcoming, and everybody loves everybody. And, most people are like, well, is it really like that? Or, yeah, it is. It really is. So raise that it's $440, right?
That's right.
And come join this community, because I'm telling you, I mean, you're missing out if you're not part of it and you live in North Carolina or any of the surrounding states where it's easy for you to access the Mountains to Sea Trail and the organization. It really is phenomenal. So with that being said, another phenomenal thing is I guess the board has put together what is called the Kate Dixon Legacy Fund. And I think part of that is your passion that you spoke of earlier for the coastal plains. So first of all, what's that like to have a legacy fund? And then being able to say, hey, in my legacy here, please use these funds that are raised towards something that you're passionate about, the coastal plains area. What is that like?
So I'm just so honored. It was such a just sweet, wonderful thing for the board to say. And so they've launched this campaign. And actually, what I asked was that funds raised through it would go for 2 choices. People have 2 choices, or they can just say, let the board decide which of the funds to put the money into. But early this year, we received the largest individual gift we've ever received. It was $100,000
wow.
to a staff. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Well, whoever did that, thank you. Wow.
So, and it's called the MST Forever Fund. And the purpose of it is to fund projects, like physical projects on the trail. So it could be everything from land acquisition to better signage to building a bridge, but it's for those kind of physical projects. And the donor, it's really, the board can make a decision. So if there's a really instant need for $100,000, they could use it that way. But the idea is really to use no more than 15% of it every year, and then just keep replenishing it and making it a bigger fund that makes us able to do even more for the trail. And so one of the options for the Kate Dixon Legacy campaign, one of the things that you could give your money towards is to build that fund. And then the other is that we're raising money specifically for the we call it the coastal crescent route of the trail, which is in the coastal plain, which is something that I've spent a lot of time focusing on. And it's a place where we still, we've identified 8 places along that trail where it would be possible to build about 200 miles of trail. It's
Wow.
just huge, exciting impact on the trail in that part of the state. And on that, our goal is to raise $150,000 for specific projects that we have going on. And so the Kate Dixon Legacy campaign, if somebody's really interested in that, is a way to put money towards that too. So those are the 2 different options. And anyway, it's really, really, I'm so appreciative that the board would think to do this. So
I think it's really cool. And what an honor. What an honor. And, you could look back and reflect on the work that you've done, and you have this legacy fund that, to me, is really ongoing, that people can continue to contribute to. So bravo is what I say. So we've talked about the birthday month. We've talked about your retirement. And if anybody's interested in the position, they can go to the Mountains of Sea Trail website and get more information on that. We've talked about your legacy fund, and people can find out more information about that on the website as well. But you've also been involved in this, and I want to make sure I say it right. And I think if I've read it right, the Mountains of Sea Trail organization has been involved in this. And please correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I want to make sure I get proper information out there. There is, in the state of North Carolina, a coalition, and it's called the Great Trails State Coalition. And there is a mission and initiative in the year of 2023 for that. And I want to quote you on something, then I'm going to have you talk about it. So I went on the website, was doing some research and some investigating about the coalition, and you were quoted on the front page there of the website at the bottom. I guess 2023 has been designated the year of trail in North Carolina. And you are quoted saying the year of trail will be a tremendous opportunity to highlight North Carolina's exceptional network of trails and educate the public and elected officials about their value to our residents and communities. So to be quoted, you've obviously, and what I mean by that, have invested time and value in this coalition. So talk to us about that.
Well, the coalition is it's so exciting, and it's so fun to work with these visionary and hardworking folks from all over the state who are working on trail projects all over the state. And I think now there are 27 different organizational members of the coalition. Diversity of types of trails. There are hiking trails, long distance trails like the MST. There are also organizations that are working more on regional trail systems. An example of that would be in the Charlotte area. There's a trail system called the Carolina Thread Trail that you may have, which isn't one trail, it's a whole network of trails in the Charlotte area. There are mountain biking groups involved, real diversity of groups. And we've been just doing really, really great work together. And the amount of time and effort that folks are putting in is not only impressive, but it's really resulted in some real impact. So actually, you're interviewing me on August 16th, and a fun thing is that today, just like an hour ago, I got an email that the governor had just signed the bill that the legislature had passed, designating 2023 as the year of the trail.
Awesome.
And
perfect timing.
Perfect timing, exactly. And so one thing that's cool about that being the year of the trail is that 2023 is actually the 50th anniversary of North Carolina's Trails Act. So back in 1973, the legislature passed the State Trails Act, which just creates sort of a forum for, or a system for encouraging trail development in North Carolina. The state trails, of which the Mountains to Sea Trail is one, the way that is possible is because of the North Carolina Trails Act. So it's been important for development of trails in North Carolina.
And she does have a huge smile on her face when she said that. So that is awesome.
So and now the coalition is starting work on planning activities for the Year of the Trail. And the goal is to try and have something happen in every county in the state. And if any of your listeners are interested in being involved in that, either locally or statewide, I know that the coalition would be really glad to invite them in.
Yes, and I'm going to make sure that, in fact, I already did that, make sure that website and information is in the show notes so people can look that up as well. Really awesome logo, too. There's actually 2 logos, one for the coalition and then one for the 2023 Year of the Trail. Really cool. Really cool logos that pop and really make you want to look at it. And that's the purpose of a logo, right? So, so anyway, is that, and I know right when I emailed you and said, hey, do you want to come back on the show again? You said, yeah. And you said, we're going to be working on and celebrating and whatever this $29.5 million in funds for trails. And that's the bill, right? Is that?
So, and actually it's 29.25 million.
Hey, we'll take it, right? We'll take it.
So that there is a bill, but the bill was never envisioned actually to pass as a bill. It was language that were the members of the House who were really interested in this were sort of using it as a way to discuss and figure out what exactly they wanted to put into the budget. And the main focus of the funding that's in the House budget, it's been approved and it's in the House budget, is money to help make progress on the state's state trails. Okay, and there are 12 of them, or there will be 12 of them. At the moment, there are 11 official state trails, and in the budget. In the House budget, there's a recommendation to create one more on the Roanoke River. So in the northeast.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
And so these are all long distance trails, really exciting visionary trails. The Mountains to Sea Trail is the longest of them, but some of them are long distance trails, say in the mountains, that sort of go through really extraordinary natural areas, but also connect to towns. Wilderness Gateway, Fonta Flora State Trail, for example. There are 5 trails along rivers. Roanoke is one of them. Then there's the East Coast Greenway, which is envisioned to be actually bikeable trail. And really the whole vision of East Coast Greenway is from Maine to Key West.
What?
Yeah.
What? I just perked up and tilted my head like, what? Wait a minute.
Yeah. It's kind of like the urban version of the Appalachian Trail. So really running
wow.
All along the East Coast, which is why it's called the East Coast Greenway.
People will love that. They really will. It's
a really, really wonderful project. And their national headquarters is actually in Durham, because the trail is on the American Tobacco Trail. Sorry.
American Tobacco Trail. I'm telling you what, North Carolina's got it going on. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
We are underestimated for the power of what we could do with trails and community. I mean, amazing.
So the bill, the budget, the House budget, so they've included this $29.25 million to help build more miles of these wonderful 12 trails. And but there is no funding in the Senate version of the budget. So what is happening right now is that the House and Senate are going into conference to come up with a final budget. And the trick is, the very important thing is to try and convince the Senate to agree to that funding so that it ends up in the final budget.
So should we reach out to the senator and start writing? Will that be helpful?
That will be helpful. I'm actually, the House and Senate, what the next step is that they appoint what they call conferees. So they appoint House and Senate members who will work together in a conference committee to hammer out that budget. And they haven't yet announced who those people will be, but it'll be soon. And at that point, I will be emailing out to everybody I could ever think of to say, okay,
it's time. Yeah. And I'll make sure once you do that, and you guys, if you want that information, is that in the newsletter, or can they sign up for on the Mountains of Sea Trail? How do they, I'll put it in, am I allowed to put that in the show notes?
Yeah. So
okay.
You could actually, folks could do two things. If they're not on our email list, if they go to mountainsofseatrail.org, you can actually, something will pop up and ask you if you'd like to join our email list, and go ahead and do that. And it's a great way to keep up with this. And they may also want to go to the Great Trail State Coalition website and do the same thing, because that's also another way that we'll be getting information out about actions folks can take.
All right, perfect. I am making a note right now to make sure I have all of that information for you guys to go and take a look at. So with everything we've talked about today, we go back to the retirement. And so what is next? What's after you sail away on that pontoon at Junaluska? So what's next for Kate Dixon? You've done so much, and you're leaving a legacy, and you have the fund. So what's next?
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to retire is my husband's actually been retired for 3 years, and I'm just eager to spend more time with him. And we want to hike and backpack. And one of the things, though, that I've decided is that I am not going to make any big decisions for a year. I definitely will probably do some volunteering, but not really in a leadership role, but just I obviously care about climate change and the environment and the natural world. And I'm also interested in, what can I do to help for just human services. I'm thinking about things like the homeless and what I could do to help in those ways. And I love to garden. I'm very interested in just having more time to read some of those things. And then, I don't know, figuring out what it's like to not have a 9-to-5 job or whatever it is.
I don't know if you drink coffee or not, but you can get up in the morning and have coffee for hours.
Exactly. Yes.
And then decide you're not doing anything today except stay in your pajamas.
I'm hoping not to do that.
Well, okay, you could do that sometimes. Yeah. I mean, we don't want to have to come over and knock on the door and go, there she is in her pajamas again, but it's okay. All right. Well, Kate, thank you very, very, very much for coming on again. And I hope you and I are not strangers. And who knows, maybe we need to do this every year. We'll have you back on and see what you've been doing and where you've been volunteering and all that wonderful stuff. So let's sign off here. What would you like to leave the listeners with?
Well, one thing is I really hope that folks will in September get out there and do the 44 miles on the MST or more, and take it as an opportunity also to raise money, to give, and to help make this trail everything that we ever envisioned for it. So it is a great community. We welcome all of your folks to be part of it. And I appreciate all that you are doing for it, Jester.
Well, thank you very much, Kate. And I look forward to catching up next year.
Sounds great.
Thanks for joining me for another episode, Kate. And I wish you nothing but the best as you venture into retirement. And I could not leave the episode without thanking you for all of your hard work and dedication for the Mountains to Sea Trail and encouraging all of us to take joy in the open trail. As always, you can go to hikingradionetwork.com and click on the Jester Section Hiker Show to find all of today's show notes, pictures, and links mentioned in this episode. If you find value in what we do here at the network, please consider leaving us a donation by clicking on any one of the donate buttons found on our website. Thanks for listening, everybody. Be safe out there and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I go wandering with you, what kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into. Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way, if you ever get lost or if the trail leads you astray. The music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projection for a wide variety of statistics, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and an enormous selection of players and stat options are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the Prize Picks community of more than 7 million football fans who have already signed up. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/get100 and use code GET100. That's code GET100 at prizepicks.com/get100 for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.